Hi everybody, I'm Hector Garcia, CPA, big fan of QuickBooks. But sometimes there's so many pop-ups that just drive me crazy, especially during my busy season. So when I first log into QuickBooks, all these little pop-ups come up. We can click on the X to get rid of them. But some of these things, you just click and then you refresh the screen and you come back and the pop-ups keep coming back. So one of the things I try to do is try to figure out a way to get rid of them. And QuickBooks doesn't have a mechanism to do that, which I really wish it did. So I downloaded a special app called Click to Remove Element. Now I want to give you a warning. This is going to be a very powerful app, and 99% of you will do this and will freak out because you will break something. So you got to be very, very careful. Understand that if you broke something in the process, you have to uninstall the app and stop using it. And I don't mean permanently break, I just mean temporary break. So this is what I mean. I'm going to click on Add to Chrome, and I'll put in the description of the video a link to this page so you can download it. It's a free app. You go to add extension, and then it adds up this extension to your Chrome profile. So if you use Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Brave, any Chromium-based browser, this will work. If you have Safari or Firefox, it won't work. Now, the other thing you want to do is you want to click on this little extensions button here, and you want to pin it, clicking on that little pin next to it. You need it to be pinned up there so you can access it whenever you need. So we'll kind of discuss that. Okay, so let's close that and go back into QuickBooks here. And again, it's kind of annoying to have to X out of these pop-ups. So what we do is, I'm going to refresh the screen one more time, is we open up this app called the Element Remover, and then we click on the elements that we don't want to see. So for example, I'm going to click on that little Nook icon that's up there, and I'm going to go ahead and remove. Now this one might be tricky because this one actually grays out the rest of the screen. So I might not be able to remove this element per se. So I'm actually going to close out the app, remove that, and then maybe go to, so this page is not a good example. This one might be one of those pop-ups that I just can't get rid of, not through this app anyway. So for example, I'm going to go into my apps and go to chart of accounts. And this is an example of one too, right? So like this got this little pop-up that takes like 10% of the screen. Again, it's useful information, right? Like I want to learn how to view my performance or whatever, but I'm busy, I don't have time to do this, and I need more space. So if I X out of this, which I can, but then I refresh the screen, so I go back to the screen, it comes back out. And that's what I'm trying to like sort of get rid of. It's just this constant pestering of telling me this fun fact and fun information that me as a busy accountant, I might not need this stuff. So I'm going to click on this little Nook button here and then select, I'm going to hover over, try to make sure I don't hover over the whole thing, because if I do that, I delete the whole screen, and that's what I mean by you're going to break something and freak out. So I'm going to click on this little X here to kind of go backwards and just remove that removal, and click on the Nook button again, and then select only that area. Boom, that's it. That's exactly what I wanted. I don't want to click on anything else. So I'm going to click this little checkbox here that says remember, and then I'm going to X out of this. When I refresh, that pop-up doesn't show up again. Now, is there a possibility that that pop-up will have really valuable information that could save you time, save your client's time, that could make the difference between a super pleasant accounting experience and a horrible one? There's a possibility. But 9 times out of 10 or 99% of times, it's probably just cross-selling you something or telling you about something that, for me as an accountant, as a power user of QuickBooks, I already know. I don't need that. So I prefer to have the space. Let's go to another screen that has that. Let me see. Let's go into expenses. And similar situation. We have that little bar there. So I'm going to nuke it. Click on the Nook button. Try to hover over what looks like, the whole bar. Click on that. Boom. Click on the little checkbox to remember. The difference between clicking on remember and not clicking on remember is that if I don't click on remember and I refresh, it shows back up. So that's kind of the point. Remember is, so while you have this extension running, these things get suppressed all the time. Let's see what else has one. The vendors page, I think, has one too. Whoops. So actually, I wasn't careful and I deleted that vendors page because I have to X out of this when I want to go back into surfing. So I'm going to click on the little X to remove that thing that I just removed. Okay, good. Let me X out of this. Let me go into vendors. Okay, same situation. Again, this big thing taking 10% of my screen. nuke that bad boy out. Remember it. X out. What's the next page? I think it was a bills page I had it. Nope, this bills page doesn't have it. But at the same time, let's say, for example, I don't use this autofill multiple receipts. Let's say I never use this and I want to get rid of that too. I could do that. I could just nuke that out too. Nuke that thing out of the way. Boom. Awesome. Remember it. X out. Let's see what else we got. We got the invoice page. That one's going to be a little bit more tricky, but let's go into invoices. Yeah, there you go. Big gray bar taking space. Let's nuke that out. Boom. Beautiful. X out of that. I think creating invoices too. Let me create an invoice. Has some pop-ups. There you go. So payment predictions available. Now, by the way, could this be useful? Yeah, it could be useful. And do I lose out on something by getting rid of it? Yeah, I probably can. But maybe for the next couple months, I don't need to be looking at whatever that thing is, and I can just get rid of it and then go to the screen with the things that I just need. So I'm going to nuke that thing out. Perfect. And then this sidebar here for the AI stuff, I'm just going to X out of that. You have this thing that's awesome where you can upload a receipt and it reads stuff and it's AI and it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. But I don't need it. So I'm just going to nuke that out too. And again, I'm saying I don't need it. I'm not saying you don't need it. I'm just saying I don't need it. That's why I'm choosing to get rid of it, right? So again, I'm clicking on remember all these things. So next time I come back to the invoice page, I'm going to hit refresh, go back to the invoice page, and I just get the stuff that I needed. Once again, you got to be careful not to delete some component that's crucial to the function that you're using. So you have to test it and kind of make sure that it doesn't break something in the process. So you kind of have to do it, test it. If it works enough times, fine. You click on that nuke button again, and then maybe from here you can quickly hover over this little eye icon, so you can kind of see which components. It basically shows you briefly what they are. So if you want to kind of see, right, what is that thing that I killed recently, I can just click on the little circle, the little eye button to kind of show it really quick. So that's pretty interesting. So that's really like up to you really, if you want to do that. So let me X out of that. Let's see what else. Another example. Let's go to standard reports. Another 10% of the screen being wasted on whatever that thing is. So let's see. Let's get rid of that. Boom. Let's remember this here. X out of it. And let's see on the customers page as well. And I could probably go into like almost every section of QuickBooks that has these big things there that kind of like are on the way. So again, the conclusion to this is it's a little Chrome extension. It's free. It's very powerful. It could break things. If you contact technical support because something is not working, because you deleted something, you're going to drive them freaking crazy. They're not going to know. There's no way they'll understand what just happened. So if you do this, make sure you remember that you were nuking out some of these components. Again, I use this all day long. When I see anything, this is not just in QuickBooks. This is like in Gmail or in a bank website. Just like anything that there's just clutter and pop-ups and stuff like that, I try to get rid of as many things as possible. Like for example, this See QuickBooks in Action Company Sandbox. This is awesome news, right? Like quick link to a company sandbox. That's awesome. I'm not saying it's all useless, but maybe if I want to get rid of some of these things, and again, you got to be careful. Not everything. That pink area is the one that tells you whether or not you can get rid of stuff. So you have to be careful. It doesn't always work in your favor. Like sometimes you'll get rid of a component, but then by doing this, I got rid of the X to X out of it. So now I can't X out of it. I literally broke it. So now I'm clicking like a maniac. I broke it because not everything can be removed, because some of these components are conditional to you closing them, which is different than the ones that just remove from the space and just gives you the real estate back. So that's an example of something that I did to break it. So I want to just get rid of these last three I did because this is one example where I actually literally have to click on the X to get rid of it. And it's not like QuickBooks enabled all those X's with the escape key. That would be incredible. Like that would be well-designed software where the escape key on your keyboard triggers that X. And if somebody from QuickBooks is watching this video, hey, tell your product team, if you show me a pop-up, make sure that the X is enabled by escape. And hopefully by the time you watch this video, they fix that. And that will reduce your need to have to use a tool like this. So anyway, very experimental. Again, with great power comes great responsibility. If you want to get rid of this because it's not working for you, just right click on it here on the top and then click on remove from Chrome. And then you can just get rid of it, remove from Chrome. And then when I go back and refresh my QuickBooks, I don't even have to remember what I removed, I didn't remove. All those pop-ups will come back. So let's say I'll go back into, I don't know, what's it, the chart of accounts, and then my pop-ups are back, okay? Or again, I call them pop-ups. They're technically not pop-ups. They are lines of information that a lot of people don't need. Let's call it that. Now, in the same logic line, I want to go back and fix the other problem with this homepage pop-up that I couldn't do it by remove the element. So I'm going to use a different app for this. This one's called User JavaScript and CSS. It's pretty neat software. So I'm going to click here where it says Add to Chrome. Click on that. Click on Add Extension. And now it adds this new thing called JavaScript CSS has been added to Chrome. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure this is pinned. So I'm going to pin that. Make sure that's pinned in there. I'm also going to right click on the little icon, go to Manage Extension, and I want to make sure that this setting called Allow User Scripts is turned on. Because that's what we're going to do. We're going to create scripts that automate that process, right? So we're going to X out of that. And now we're going to go into QuickBooks and we're going to do something really interesting, which is we're going to run an inspect. So we're going to click here, it says inspect. We're going to right click anywhere on the screen, click on inspect, and then we're going to click on this element selector. Okay, element selector, which is similar to the one that was showing pink before. And I'm going to click on the elements that I want to get rid of. So this is one of the elements here. The little X is one of the elements. And I just want to make sure, remember, this was a remove the element. It just only selects the element. I want to make sure that I pick what seems to be the highest level one there, that one. Okay, and it's actually called close tooltip. So that's pretty logical. We're going to right click on that. And we're going to copy that element. And I'm going to go to ChatGPT and say, there are two elements that show up automatically when I open up my QuickBooks Online homepage. And the only way to get rid of them is to actually explicitly click on the X button. So I want to give you the HTML code for both of the X's that I want you to close automatically when I go on this page via a console script that I'm going to inject into the special Google Chrome utility that loads on start. Okay, and so let's go to the first one, paste. Okay, so I pasted that code. And now let's go to the next one. And with the element selector, same thing. Look for the other X. Okay, which is this one. This one's actually called area label close. Okay, that works. That's good enough. That's logical too. Copy element, come in here and paste that as well. So now I have given ChatGPT both of the HTML codes directly from the page that pertain to that little X button that I want the script to automatically hit close for me as soon as the page loads. And we're going to use this user JavaScript CSS app to automate that process. So let's take a look at this. Here's my script. Okay, good. And there's another script, which is, okay, fine. Let's try the first one. So auto close script. I'm going to click on copy. And then I'm going to go into QuickBooks here. I'm going to go into my new app, that JavaScript CSS selector or whatever it's called. And then I'm going to click on new rule, qbo.intuit.com. Click on that. And then I'm going to paste that script in there straight from ChatGPT. I don't know what any of that stuff means. That's all Chinese to me. Okay. Paste that straight from ChatGPT and save it. Okay. And then make sure it's enabled. Okay. So if the little button's to the left, then it's kind of blacked out. That's disabled. If it's light and it's to the right, it's enabled. So that's enabled. That means that in theory, I will hit refresh on this page and I won't even see those two pop-ups because that extension is automatically closing them for me. So I'm going to hit refresh and close my fingers, see if it does that automatically, see if that works. And it does. It does it beautifully. So how would you think about this now is, am I teaching you how to close pop-ups only? No, I'm actually teaching you how to do all sorts of potential automations when you are in QuickBooks. Let me do one more example. So let me go into reports and let's go into a profit and loss report. And one thing that annoys the hell out of me is that, for example, it doesn't default this to last year for some reason. Okay. So I'm going to have it go through the process of defaulting this to last year as a script. Now that could be frustrating if that's not what you wanted to do, but of course that's automation does, right? It's supposed to help you do the specific thing you want to do, even if it's not what you wanted to do, right? That's what automation is. So I'm actually going to use a different tool for this. I'm going to use the Claude. I'm going to use the Claude site extension. So it's a little bit different than ChatGPT. And the reason for that is because I actually want Claude is the competitor of ChatGPT, to interact with the screen, and then through that interaction, then come up with the script. So it's going to be a slightly different approach. It's actually a lot of fun because you kind of watch the AI kind of like work on the screen first. So I need you to change the reporting period from whatever it is now to last year. But also in that process, I need you to understand the HTML and the code of the website so you can build a console script that I can inject into a Chrome extension that I have that does the actions automatically, so I don't have to do the same number of clicks when I do it. So you have two tasks. One is figure out how to change it to last year, and two, observe the process and then give me a console script where I can automate that. Okay, so I'm going to give it this task. This will take a while because AI is slow, but this way I do a lot less right clicking and this and that. I just kind of have it figure it out on its own. So it's going to go through the iterations. Like my hands are up. Like it's actually it's a robot. Like the robot's doing its own thing. So it's understanding. It's learning. Let's call it that. The process of how to kind of do this on its own, and then try to build that script for me. So we're going to see how that works. And if it fails at that, which it has done sometimes, then we'll do it the traditional way by right-clicking on things and copying and pasting the code and that sort of thing. But I'm kind of crossing my fingers that Claude will be able to kind of detect that process by interacting with it. Okay, so it seems like I figured out how to do it. Let's see if this will work now, okay? So I'm gonna click on copy here, and I'm gonna just X out of the Claude sidebar here. I'm gonna refresh just for context. So you see I go back into this report, and it keeps defaulting back to this year to date. So let's go into my new rule. Let's do a new rule here. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that. Now for the URL pattern, I'm going to be more specific. I'm going to grab the actual pattern here. I take the actual URL just so it doesn't do that within any other context. It doesn't do it on any other page. It doesn't try to do it on any other page. Just does it on this specific page. Okay. So I'll go back into my app. Where is my app? There you go. And I'll paste that URL in there. So it only works on this specific page. So I'm going to click on save. And then we'll see if it works now. So we can X out of that. Now I'm going to refresh the page and hoping that it doesn't go to this year to date. So we'll refresh the page and see what happens. And there's some nuances here. Sometimes you have to insert little delays for it to happen. So like this actually didn't work at all. Sort of kind of tried, but it didn't work. So I'm going to try a different approach. I'm going to go back to good old trusty ChatGPT. So I'll start with some context. And I'll say, when I'm in the reports page, particularly the profit and loss, the report defaults to this year to date. I needed to default to last year, and I attempted to write a script that didn't work. I'm going to give you the script, then I'm going to give you a couple of screenshots, and then you tell me what you would need in terms of HTML or inspect elements so you can fix the script for me. So let me try with this. Paste that in there. See if it now it gives it a little bit better context. Okay, here we go. It's analyzing why it didn't work. And then what it's asking me is to get a couple of screenshots. The report period control that shows year to date. Please copy outer HTML of the clickable control itself. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's see. Let's go into inspect. Let's select on the clickable component. Okay, right click on that, go to copy, and go to outer HTML. I don't know what that means, but I'm following its instructions. Okay, so here is the outer HTML. And I'll paste that. See if that's useful. Oh, it's still giving me instructions and stuff, so I'm not sure. Okay, so it's just giving me a sample of a script. So let's wait until that finishes. I guess it's just doing a test script that might work or might not work, but it actually needs to know the name of the field IDs. So it's probably gonna insert that back in there. So I'm gonna wait until it kind of finishes doing all this. Okay. So send your screenshots next. And I'll tell you exactly which nodes. Okay, well, I didn't send the screenshot, but let me send that. Let me see if that works. Okay, that's what it needed. Okay, perfect. So it's probably gonna rewrite the code or no? Yeah, it's gonna rewrite the code. Okay, I wanna do one more thing here just in case. I'm gonna open this thing, scroll down to last year, and select this thing, and then tell it that this is what I picked. I copy the element, just in case, just in case. I mean, this script might work by itself. Not sure, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's wait until that finishes, and I'll just give it that piece of information. Okay, let's see. Here is the element of the last year selection option. After I click in it and scroll down a bit. So I'll give it that text. And also I said something about the outer HTML. So let's see. Right click on that and do outer HTML too. I don't know what those things mean. I just follow instructions. And this is the outer HTML of the same line. Okay, good. Does this change anything? Let's see if that helps. Oh, it changes everything. Okay. All right. So it just kind of helps it understand exactly what it is going to select. So this is going to write a new script, and the only thing we haven't talked about is a delay. So like inserting a delay in the process. So we'll try to see if this works without a delay, and then afterwards we'll talk about adding a delay. And the delay itself could be the one that saves it, because remember, everybody has their own sort of refresh speed or internet speed and all that stuff. So let's see. I'm going to copy this code. Let's go back here, X out of that, and let's go into our scripts here, and let's edit this reporting script. Delete this whole thing, replace it with a new one, save. Go back in here. Again, it defaults to this year to date. Let's hit refresh. Let's see if it goes back to last year. Oh, look, it did it for me automatically. Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty. I gotta love artificial intelligence. I gotta love automation. So the idea is that this gives you some ideas in your head. What are all the things in QuickBooks that you wish it kind of did automatically, and go from there. Now you might be saying, Hector, what about the setting where you tell QuickBooks what the default time frame is and then use that for it to automate? Sure. Where is that setting? I don't know where that setting is. I don't know where the average user has a setting to tell QuickBooks how to default that to last year. Some accountants kind of have the setting. It kind of works sometimes. I don't know. You tell me where that setting is. Or if somebody from QuickBooks is watching at this point, create that setting. So that way I don't have to do all these quirky, crazy things, to get QuickBooks to behave the way I want it to behave. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.